Yo, 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 welcome back to Wise Wednesday. This is a podcast where we go beyond just the highlight reel and talk about the real stuff, the struggles, the pivots, the late nights, the moments that make it all worth it. I'm your host, Jake Britton. Every week, we try to sit down with a creative professional, business owners, or these out of box thinkers that unpack not just what they do, but really how they got here and what they've learned along the way, the wisdom that they've picked up. This show is about honoring that story behind the success and offering real insight to anyone who's trying to build something from the ground up. And today's guest brings that kind of energy, that kind of insight that really makes this podcast, what it is and what it is all about. Austin is here with me. Welcome, Austin. He is the creator behind Austin Automates, a YouTube channel where he helps businesses and creators streamline their workflows, build systems that scale. But that's just one side of the story, right? He's also helped start a nonprofit. He gives back to the community. He shows up in life with this contagious energy that makes people just want to be better and be around them. I know I'm one of them. We're going to dive into his journey, kind of the mindset behind automation, give you some quick tips, and get into the heart behind the hustle, and hopefully help small business owners with some tips and tricks that they can apply right now. So let's get into it. Austin, thanks for being here, man.
You are very welcome. I'm super pumped. I love doing this kind of stuff. And one promise I will make to your audience, like, yes, I do have a story of, I was getting sued, making $9 an hour, and I'll kind of get into that. But by the end of this, uh, business owners or people that are looking or to be like aspiring marketers, I'm going to break down step by step a framework that I've used to not have to make minimum wage, but also a framework that multi seven figure businesses have paid me money to help set up for their business. And it's actually super simple. And you see it every single day. And by the end of this, I promise you're going to actually have like the framework that I use. So I'm excited to be here.
That's sweet. Awesome. And yeah, what I want to do really is kind of lay that foundation and talk a little bit about the journey. Yeah, we're a marketing podcast, but everyone has a story, right? And we believe that the way to connect with your target audience is through storytelling, right? And so I want to talk to you a little bit about the journey and kind of dig into that path that, brought you here. So can you kind of just give me a quick, I know you're a talker, Austin, so it's going to be hard, but a quick, how did this marketing journey start for you? And what was like that kind of aha moment where things started shifted to where you are today?
Yeah, no, absolutely. So I was working. I was a 30 pounds ago. I was a fitness instructor. I was working at the YMCA, passing out basketballs for $9 an hour. Was actually getting my personal training certificate, and I did the math one day, and I realized that to be a personal trainer, like capped out, I was going to be making anywhere between $60,000 to $70,000 a year, and I didn't really have a problem with that. But one day, I'm sitting at the YMCA, and I get a phone call from my ex-wife, and she's like calling me crying, and I find out we're being sued for tens of thousands of dollars. And American Express, they want their money. We spent a lot of money. They want their money, and now they're suing us. I was buried in debt. The only skill I really had was how to be a personal trainer, and they don't make a whole lot of money. So I went on YouTube and I YouTubed how do you make money online. And this was when everyone was pitching like, "Hey, start your own marketing agency. You can start your own marketing agency." And so finally, I decided I was going to start my own marketing agency. I picked up a couple books. I read how to build funnels. I learned how to run Facebook ads. I started going down like the YouTube rabbit hole of how do I build a marketing agency. Then I learned how to prospect. So I was like, oh, cool. I know how to do the marketing agency stuff, kind of, and I know how to prospect. I landed like 2 or 3 clients, and the problem was I knew nothing about business. So I landed 2 or 3 clients. I start doing what I'm doing. They realize real quick that I don't really know what I'm doing, and I lose my clients, and I just like crash and burn. Everything fails. My whole marketing agency just like crashes through the ground. We're still getting sued. And I'm like, I have no idea what to do. That was supposed to be it. That was supposed to be like the big thing. I think I spent like $300 at the time, which we didn't have on a course. And I ended up selling pre-owned cars at one of the largest Chevy dealerships here in Michigan. And realized that a lot of the skills that I had learned trying to start my own marketing agency transferred over into the car dealership when it came to sales and marketing. So I actually messaged some of the higher ups and I sent to them, I said, hey, I have some ideas about this. I have some ideas about this. I have some ideas about this. And within 1 year, I was promoted to run the digital marketing department and business development center of, like I said, one of the largest Chevy dealerships in the state. And I got to see what the inside of a well oiled machine looked like and got to work with experts in the field of marketing. There was one Google marketing dude, Google analyst. He was a freaking genius. And he was like, I actually got to take all the information I had learned about marketing and see what it looked like inside of a very well oiled. Again, this business has been around for 100 years. And so I got to see what everything looked like. Ended up crushing it because my funnels were just absolutely crushing. With that was when Facebook was like the wild wild west, and you could run ads about anything, and I was getting leads at like 30 cents a piece. It was absolutely nuts. I ended up leaving the car dealership, took everything that I learned, started my own thing as a freelancer, and since then have been able to build. I think I did multiple six figures last year just being able to help businesses set up back-end automations and basically send text messages to their old leads to schedule appointments. And that's how I got into marketing. Then I'm always learning, always reading books. And this, I always tell people, they ask me what school I went to, where I'm educated. And I say, listen, I have a six-figure YouTube education. Like I literally graduated high school with a 1.6
YouTube
GPA,
University.
and I make more money than all of my teachers did.
Right. Yeah, I can relate to a lot of what you just said, right? And there's like the story of ups and downs, right? And it's funny when I look back at my life and all the different, pivots I made to kind of get to where I'm at. It's through learning. It's through learning some lessons the hard way. It's through the books I read. It's through all these little, moments. And you talked a lot about how you kind of constantly evolving and constantly trying to learn new thing, not just about automations and helping businesses win and database activation, reputation management, some of these things that we're going to get into more. But I want to know, what's something that you kind of had to unlearn? What's something that you had to stop and say, you know what, this doesn't benefit me, or the way I'm doing it isn't the right way? And how has that helped you get, a little bit further along?
One thing that I had to unlearn is that working is not, when you do marketing, marketing is not a 9 to 5 thing. There have been times where I was up until midnight trying to build out some sort of AI bot, AI automation, or some sort of just automation in general, and I have to present it to someone the next day. And we're talking like, if I close the deal, it pays my bills for 3 months. If I don't, I have to figure out how I'm paying my bills for the next 3 months. So I had to unlearn the 40-hour week in the beginning. Since then, I've been able to take my foot off the gas a little bit, but that was kind of something that I had to unlearn. Was like, it's not a 40-hour week when you're running your own business.
Yeah, no, and that's very true, right? And we're getting here at Wisebear, we've gotten into a point where I'm trying to practice more of this delegation, but even still it's so hard to stop myself. I mean, just last night, I mean, not even sarcastically, I think I worked from, 6:30 a.m. till 9:30 p.m. And the one of the things that I've realized about the work that I think that we do in helping other people is it brings so much joy and value into my life that it sometimes it's hard to turn off because you want it to work not only for your own business, but you're helping people win at their own marketing, follow their dreams, become this version of themselves or this version of their business that they are proud of. And that is like that's the stakes have never been higher in my opinion when you're helping somebody fulfill that.
Yeah.
So I know a little bit about your story, Austin, and a little bit more about some of the personal, struggles that you've gone through. But for as comfortable as you are, there's versions of myself that had to kind of die to become the version of the person and the business owner that I am today. Um, would you mind sharing a little bit about kind of that part of your journey, some of the struggles along the way, and maybe that version of yourself that had to die to become the version you are today?
Yeah. Um, the biggest version. of me that had to die was the version that thought someone was coming to save me. And I tell this to everyone, like no one is coming to save you. And I used to drink a lot. I haven't had a drink in almost 3 years. But I used to drink a lot, and it actually made work easier because I could turn on some music. I could grab a bottle and a cup and some ice, maybe no ice, and I could sit there at my computer and I could work and figure things out, and it was like on autopilot. And then I was like energetic and I was engaging and I would call people and like what up, blah, 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 blah. And I was the most energetic person, but it affected all other aspects of my life. Like, yes, I could sell really well when I was drinking, but I could not fulfill really well. Like there was like a give or take. I was like, well, I'm free. I don't feel great. I don't want to build this website now, or I don't want to build this automation now. And so I had to let go of like alcohol completely, um, in order to actually like let my business grow. That kept being the thing that I would run into. That it's like you're really good at getting work done in the evening and prospecting and stuff, but the rest of your day is trash the next day. And so in order to not be that way, I'd have to like keep drinking. So, um, and it all kind of revolves around that what I first said. Like I kept thinking like someone was coming to like help me and someone was coming to rescue me, and like I'm trying to figure this out on my own. Where is the person that's going to jump in and say, "Hey, this is how to do it"? Like no one is coming to show you how to do it unless you go out and look for the person, and a lot of times you have to pay the person to show you how to do it. Since then, I've paid like I graduated high school with a 1.6 GPA. I stopped drinking, and then I've bought into multiple programs that cost $10,000 each. So I had to drop the whole idea that like the information I need is free. Someone's just going to give it to me for free. And you know what? All if I could just drink and just kind of go on autopilot through the process. I had to let that person die. And I had to realize, no, you need to save your money so that you can pay people to help you speed up your own process. And that was like a big revelation.
No, that's good, and I think honestly, and you and I have talked, right? Like I can relate to a lot of that, right? Execution was always the tough part. Consistent execution, because it's not like I didn't know or that we probably didn't know how to do the work. We did, but when your mind's clouded with other stuff, when you're not healed, when you're drinking, when your mind's busy and racing around, yeah, you can be busy, right? But can you be impactful? Can you execute? Can you follow through? And I look at Wise Bear over the years, and there's been multiple times where I grew it, grew it, grew it, grew it, grew it, crashed, grew it, grew it, grew it, grew it, grew it, crashed, mental burnout, mental deterioration, divorce, drinking, whatever, right? And through that, I've learned the hard way the power of execution and the power of consistency. And I think, like from what I gathered from what you're saying, is one of the things that you kind of put aside is, okay, no one's going to save me, no one's going to do it for me. I'm going to learn how to do it. I'm going to get rid of these unhealthy distractions and go all in. And it sounds like that's been a big part of the success that you found today, right? And I think it's great, and I think that's what we're trying to convey, right? Is anybody on this business owner journey, this entrepreneur journey, starting something new, whether it's a new lawn care business or your own marketing agency, is that there's going to be distractions. There's going to be unhealthy habits that you have that you need to unlearn, that you need to break, that you need to pivot, and that you need to leave behind. And yeah, to summarize it, right? No one's coming to save you. You're your own biggest advocate. There's resources out there, but find them and take full advantage of them, and don't be afraid to pay for them either, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So I do want to just take a minute too, because I mentioned in the beginning, right? And we're not going to talk about sobriety and drinking the whole podcast, but I wanted to take a minute because we talked about in the beginning. I mentioned that you started a nonprofit, and quick opportunity for a little shameless plug. What is that nonprofit, and kind of what is it today, and where are you guys going?
Well, the interesting thing is one of the reasons why it started was because I have a background in digital marketing, and I got really good at getting people together. I have a marketing Facebook group with almost 5,000 people. I have another community with almost 400 people. I've helped people build other Facebook groups to multiple thousands of people. I know how to like get people together and uh, uh, during my early sobriety, someone invited me to go. Actually, one of the co-founders invited me to go to an event where people were sober and they were having a good time. Me, I'm a computer guy. I like to sit like I'm in my black hat, my sweatshirt, and I'm at my computer, and I love that. And isolating is not the greatest thing in the world when you're trying to get sober. And so what we do now is because of that, he invited me to go to an event. We had a blast. I laughed. Um, and I said like, hey, why don't we host like sober events for adults? And his answer was, well, oh, because I don't know how to set up the group, I don't know how to do the tech, and I don't know how to do the this, and I don't know how to do the that, and I like all of the things he said he didn't know how to do. I was like, well, I know how to do all that. And it just kind of went from there. And now it's kind of on autopilot where there's people still hosting sober events. And what we do is we host sober events for adults in sobriety that want to hang out with like-minded individuals. And, you know, that's one of the biggest things when people get sober is um, they don't have groups of people. And so I was like, I know how to piece all this together. I know how to build a website. I know how to build the Facebook group. I know how to do the meetup. I know how to like automate a lot of this stuff to where people can get notified and this, that, and the other thing. And I know how to build a list. And so I started piecing all this stuff together. And then the next day I was like, hey, look, I built it. And then we just started like, I remember we set up a Jenga tournament was the very first thing that we had, and it ended up being like a blast. And a whole bunch of people that were in sobriety came together and had a Jenga tournament. Um, it was really cool. And now to this day, there's still people hosting events for Michigan Sober Social, and I'm not even like really. I don't even have to be hands on. Like it was an idea that came together, and I just was like, hey, if you just let me do all the tech stuff, like, and then you take care of the rest of it, like I'm in. And now the Facebook group has almost 10,000 people, and that has become like its own life. Like people share all their wins, their losses, um, and it's really cool to see that community grow. And I'm not even like super hands on with it anymore.
I think it's awesome, and it's a great resource. It's something that I check out on a regular basis. In fact, you mentioned Jenga tournament. I was just at another Jenga tournament that they did last weekend at the Momentum Center in Grand Haven. But yeah, you know, if anyone out there is struggling with sobriety, I think check out Michigan Sober Social Facebook group, www.michigansobersocial.com, and you can learn more
And
about
for
what
the record, I know
Austin's
Jake
doing.
likes to be super modest, but all the branding was Jake. Like Jake approached me and was like, "Hey, I want to be a part of this," and I was like, "Hey, I don't know how to help with that." And he goes, well, I can make a logo. And I was like, I can make a logo. And I made a logo and he literally goes, that's garbage. And then he makes a logo, he revamped the website. I think you did some SEO, which it is ranking. So Jake was a very, 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 very big piece in the beginning of it all coming together because like I just wanted it to happen. Jake wanted it to look nice, and Jake made it look nice.
Yeah, that's
And
kind
then
of
it
what
had
we
like the
do,
whole
right?
retro branding, and I was like, I don't necessarily like that. I was like super honest. I was like, I don't necessarily like that, but everybody else does. So let's just keep it.
Yeah, we had fun with it. Yeah, it's kind of got this 90 retro brand vibe, and that was a fun build. So yeah, I appreciate you letting me be involved, and yeah, happy to help when the cause is right, and we're super willing to loan our expertise when the cause is right. So all right, I want to shift gears here, and the idea here, right, is to let's tell the story a little bit. Let's get into how Austin, came to be where he is and how that all, kind of pivoted and but I want to drop some practical wisdom, right? This is Wise Wednesday, right? And we're trying to help some small businesses. So I want to have some conversation around kind of like things that our small business viewers can learn from what you offer and what you're an expert in, and that you wear a lot of hats, right? But the big thing I want to focus on is that database activation. And so, for real simple layman's terms, what is database activation? If you own a business, how
So technically the term is database reactivation. I do because I did coin database activation for something different. We'll get into that. But database reactivation is very simple. Okay. So let's say you're a business owner and you have all of these leads or data or contacts. You have all of them in your CRM or your software. A group of people know about your business. They just know. Okay. And you have their phone number and email address. Now imagine all of these people are at a park. Okay. You have thousands of people that know about your business. They just know about your business. They almost transacted. Maybe they did transact. They thought about it. They considered it. Maybe, maybe, maybe. Imagine all of these people are at a park. Okay. Now, math and science says that if I go to every single person in the park, thousands of people, and I say, hey, you know about my business. Do you want to buy? And I asked every single person, math and science says that there will be some of them that go, yeah, I'm interested. Now, what database reactivation does is through a series of text messages and emails, it's kind of like showing up to that park with a megaphone and going like, "Hey, I know all of you were interested in my business at one time, but who's interested in buying right now?" And then a bunch of people raise their hands, and then you get to just go talk to all the people that rose their hand. That is what database reactivation does is we take your older cold data, we hop on a megaphone and we say, we know all of you were interested at one point. Who's interested now? And you get a whole bunch of people through text messages and emails say, I'm interested now, or I'm interested, but not right now, or I'm not so interested, but I know someone that is interested. And through a series of automations, we can actually take your list and turn it into new appointments, new revenue, or filter out people that might need to be followed up in the future and without you having to talk to every single one of them.
Yeah, and I think I love the megaphone illustration and how you brought that together because it's so true. And one of the things that we've realized as we started offering these services to Wisebear, you know, we look at Austin as a strategic partner really with Wisebear, and we offer these services to some of our clients, and we're seeing some really great results. And you know, a big focus for Wisebear is web development, it's branding, and it's the SEO behind it. And what Austin does by reactivating databases and helping get more traffic back to the website, to the leads form. It all works together so seamlessly. So one of our kind of pitches is if you have a database, maybe you're coming to us for SEO, but let's get you some instant wins. Let's get on the megaphone and get you some leads and some qualified clients right out the gate because SEO takes time and we're building up that organically. Database reactivation can get you some instant results and it works, right? And we just had a client, Accurate Concrete, who signed up for a database campaign. We're trying it for just 1 month. He was hesitant, kind of like, this isn't going to work. You know, he had a good, healthy book of contacts, and Austin did his thing. Can you just tell us a little bit about the strategy behind that one in particular, and some of the instant results that we're seeing?
Yeah, that one was actually really cool. So I teach database reactivation to a group of marketers, and I told Jake, I said, listen, I know I'm setting this up for Accurate Concrete. I would what I want to do is I want to build out the campaign live for my class and then launch it live. And what was really cool is I was able to build it out. These are this. It doesn't have to be super complex when you start out as you build onto it and you set up the automations and the follow up and the long term nurturing campaigns, like there's a little bit more complexity involved. But the initial like setup and just like getting it launched, I want people to get quick wins. And right off the bat, I think we're at a point where every 50 messages I send out for Accurate Concrete, it returns one person saying, like, I literally just sent out the message, hey, spring is here. Because spring is here, we're offering free quotes. Do you or anyone you know need a quote for concrete? And within 3 minutes, someone was like, yes, I need a quote. And I was live on my call with my class, and I was like, hold on guys, now I have to, I was like, this is now how you build the automation to send this hot lead to that person, the business owner that now needs to call that lead. And so I'm like telling them, I'm like, hold on guys, like I'm showing them how to build out the automation. But it's as simple as just reactivating your list and finding out who's ready to buy now. And the same thing happened the next day. I sent another 50 messages, and instantly someone was like, yes, I need a quote, email me. And it's kind of like businesses are their business is on this mountain, and that mountain is covering a pile of gold, and they know the gold is there. They might not know the gold is there, but they come to someone like myself or Jake, and they say, hey, listen, I need you to help me extract the gold, because they're sitting on it. They don't need to pay more for marketing. I'm literally helping them find business inside of a leads list that they probably already paid for sometime in the future. I mean, what business owner, if I said, hey, you remember all that money you spent on your business over the last couple years? And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, I want to give some of that back to you.
Yeah, it's kind of it's tough to say no to that. And with the case studies we have, right, it works. Like it's it's almost guaranteed results, because if you have a good reputation, if you've done good work in the past, and you have a decent database, say over a couple hundred uh, people that we can reach out to via text or email, it's gonna work. You're gonna get some leads. So it's a great way to get some of those instant results as you're still churning the organic search, the paid ads, the other marketing avenues that we can, assist with. And I think it's such a great tool to start a relationship with a small business as an agency owner, but also just a great tool to restart some relationships with your past clients. And just accurate again as an example, the founder, uh, Jordan, messaged me like right after. He's like, "Man, I already got a lead. I'm so happy." And that's what we're doing, right? Is we're providing some real value to customers, and in a quick way, quicker than some other forms of marketing. So database reactivation is here to stay. You mentioned your class on YouTube. How can people find you, Austin? What's that all about, and where can they come listen, join your class?
So I do have a YouTube channel called Austin Automates. There I teach, I literally give away my frameworks. Like, here's how to set up your own database reactivation. There is a version of database reactivation called reputation management. It's kind of like a branch off of it, where I take people's older cold customers and I turn them into 5-star reviews. And then people that leave 5-star reviews, we ask them for a referral. I'm doing the exact same thing. I'm sending them messages and emails. The only difference is I'm saying, hey, you worked with this business. Did you have a good experience? They say yes. Cool. Can you write us a review? And so it goes right along with database reactivation. Now, for those of you that I'll close the loop on database activation, I know Jake had mentioned it goes like there's things like SEO, paid traffic, um, anything that is helping build your list and add to your list. That is what I refer to as database activation. So if someone's like, well, hey, listen, we did database reactivation and we got a whole bunch of reviews and we got a whole bunch of appointments, like, but I can't just keep sending messages to my old contact list. Like, how do I get new contacts? How do I get new leads? That's when we move into database activation. And that's where SEO, paid Facebook ads, any type of paid advertising will now activate your leads list. But yeah, I teach all of this stuff on my YouTube channel at Austin. If you do the @ symbol Austin Automates, I think if you look up Austin Mariglia, you might find that. But Austin Automates is way easier to spell than Mariglia.
Yeah, I still don't even know how to pronounce her last name. Every time I see it in an email, I'm like, blah, 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 blah. So
Someone called me Austin
we're
Malaria, and I was like,
yeah,
that's not it.
yeah, what is that? Well, Austin, I really appreciate you being here, and we're getting to kind of the closing time. We're trying to keep these about 30 minutes, but I do want to, end it kind of with my kind of signature, closer, I guess, is, if you had to boil everything you learned professionally, personally, creatively, triumphs, wisdom, one truth at this point in your life.
If I had to bring everything down into one truth, the one truth would always come down to no one is coming to save you. Like, I know we talked about that in the beginning. Like, no one is coming to save you. No one cares about your and people are going to always argue, "Oh, I care." And no, when it comes to business, people don't care about your problems. People don't care about your failures. People don't care about if you stubbed your like your customer does not care if you woke up and you have a fever. They don't care, and no one's coming to save you. No one is going to hop on your computer and do your work for you. You have to take the action steps, even if that is hiring someone to do the job. Like, I'm not going to message you and say, "Hey, I see your business is failing, let me run a database reactivation campaign for free." It's not going to happen. You have to take the action steps. No one is coming to save you. No one's coming to save your business. No one's coming to save you during your struggles. You have to take the action steps and go get help.
That's good advice. It's great advice. Well, Austin, thank you for being here, and thanks everyone that comes and tunes into these Wise Wednesdays. We're going to keep them going. I believe next week we have Ryan from Rygo Labs. He is the strategic SEO consultant, trusted partner for Wise Bear, and he is really going to walk through how the new form of SEO is working and how authoritative driven marketing is the key to your SEO strategy. So make sure you tune in the next week or so for our next episode of Wise Wednesday. And Austin, man, thanks again for being here, and we'll talk to you soon.
You're very welcome.